God, I come to you today as a mother whose heart is heavy with worry about my children, carrying burdens that feel too big for me to handle alone. You see me lying awake at night thinking about everything that could go wrong, every danger they might face, every mistake they might make that could affect their entire future. Lord, my mind races with concerns about their safety when they're not with me, wondering if I've taught them enough about stranger danger, about making good choices, about who to trust and who to avoid. I worry about car accidents, about bullying at school, about them getting lost or hurt when I'm not there to protect them. You know how I check on them multiple times after they're asleep, how I panic when they're even a few minutes late coming home, how I imagine worst-case scenarios every time my phone rings unexpectedly. God, I feel like I'm drowning in fear about all the things I can't control, all the ways the world could hurt my precious children. I need you to lift these worries from my shoulders and replace them with your peace, reminding me that you love my children even more than I do and that they are safe in your hands. Help me to trust you with their protection and their future, knowing that my worry doesn't add a single hour to their lives but only steals joy from mine. Father, you know the specific worries I have about each of my children, the unique challenges and struggles they're facing that keep me up at night praying and wondering what I should do to help them. I worry about my quiet child who doesn't share their feelings, wondering what's going on in their heart and mind that they're not telling me about. Lord, I see my sensitive child getting hurt by unkind words from classmates, and I want to shield them from every pain but know I can't always be there to protect them. I'm concerned about my strong-willed child who challenges every rule and boundary, wondering how to guide them without breaking their spirit or pushing them away from me. God, I watch my academically struggling child work so hard but still fall behind, and I wonder if I'm doing enough to support them or if there's something wrong that I'm missing. I worry about my social child being influenced by the wrong crowd, about my introverted child feeling lonely and isolated, about my athletic child getting injured, about my artistic child being discouraged by criticism. Lord, each of my children is so different, with their own personalities, strengths and vulnerabilities, and I feel overwhelmed trying to parent each one according to their individual needs while still being fair and consistent. Lord, I lift up my worries about my children's spiritual development, the anxiety I feel about whether they will choose to follow you when they're old enough to make their own decisions about faith. You see how I watch for signs of their heart condition, how I analyze their prayers, their questions, their attitudes during church and family devotions. God, I worry that I'm not doing enough to instill faith in their hearts, that I'm failing to model Christianity in a way that makes them want to pursue their own relationship with you. I'm concerned about the secular influences they encounter at school, through friends, through media and entertainment that contradicts what we're teaching them at home. Lord, I fear that I'm being too preachy or not preachy enough, too strict about religious practices or too lenient about worldly activities. I worry about their questions and doubts, wondering if I have the wisdom to answer them in ways that strengthen rather than weaken their faith. God, I need you to remind me that their salvation is ultimately between them and you, that my job is to plant seeds and water them but only you can make them grow. Help me to trust you with their spiritual journey while still being faithful to teach them your ways and model your love. God, I surrender my anxiety about my children's academic performance and their future educational and career paths. You know how I stress about their grades, their test scores, their college prospects, wondering if I'm pushing them too hard or not hard enough to reach their potential. Lord, I compare them to other children and worry that they're falling behind, that they're not taking their education seriously enough, that they'll miss opportunities because of poor choices or lack of effort. I'm concerned about the cost of college, about student loans, about whether they'll be able to find good jobs in their chosen fields. You see how I research schools, programs, and career options until my head spins, trying to guide them toward success while respecting their own interests and abilities. God, I worry about my children who struggle academically, wondering if they have learning disabilities that haven't been diagnosed, if they need extra help that I can't provide, if they'll be able to support themselves as adults. I'm also concerned about my high-achieving children, worried that they're under too much pressure, that they'll burn out or develop anxiety disorders from trying to be perfect. Lord, help me to remember that my children's worth isn't determined by their academic achievements, that you have a plan for each of them that may look different from what I envision for their lives. Father, I lift up my worries about technology and social media, The way these tools that were supposed to make life easier have instead created new dangers and challenges for our children. You know how I struggle to monitor their online activity without feeling like I'm invading their privacy. How I worry about cyberbullying, online predators, and inappropriate content they might encounter. Lord, I see how social media affects their self-esteem, how they compare themselves to others and feel inadequate when they don't measure up to impossible standards. I'm concerned about screen time addiction, about them losing the ability to have real conversations and develop genuine relationships because they're always looking at devices. God, I worry about the pressure they feel to present a perfect image online, about the drama and conflict that social media creates in their friendships and romantic relationships. I feel overwhelmed trying to keep up with all the apps and platforms they use, trying to understand the digital world they're growing up in that feels so foreign to me. Lord, I need your wisdom about how to set appropriate boundaries around technology use while still allowing my children to participate in their generation's way of connecting and communicating. Help me to teach them discernment about what they share and consume online, and protect them from the dangers I can't even anticipate. Lord, I ask you to calm my worries about my children's friendships and social relationships. The way peer influence can shape their choices and character in ways I can't control. You know how I analyze their friends, wondering if they're good influences or if they're leading my children astray. God, I worry about my children being excluded, about them feeling lonely or rejected, about them compromising their values to fit in with popular crowds. I'm concerned about friendship drama, about my children being hurt by friends they trusted, about them learning to navigate conflict and betrayal at ages when their hearts are still so tender. Lord, I see how much their social acceptance affects their self-worth, and I wish I could protect them from the pain of rejection while still allowing them to develop their own relationships. I worry about my children who are naturally leaders, hoping they'll use their influence for good, and about my children who are followers, praying they'll choose wise leaders to emulate. God, I need your guidance about when to intervene in their social situations and when to let them work things out on their own, when to offer advice and when to simply listen and support them through difficult friendship seasons. God, I lift up my concerns about my teenagers, the way adolescence brings new challenges and worries that I feel unprepared to handle. You know how I miss the days when their problems were simple and their solutions were straightforward, when a hug and a band-aid could fix almost anything. Lord, I worry about teenage rebellion, about them pulling away from me and rejecting the values we've tried to instill in them. I'm concerned about dating relationships, about them getting their hearts broken or making physical compromises they'll regret later. You see how I struggle with giving them more freedom while still keeping them safe, how I want to trust them but fear they'll make poor decisions that could have lasting consequences. God, I worry about teenage depression and anxiety, about eating disorders, about experimentation with alcohol and drugs, about all the ways adolescents can go wrong despite my best efforts as a parent. I need you to help me stay connected to my teenagers even when they're pushing me away, to be available when they need me without being overbearing when they need space. Help me to remember that this difficult season is temporary, that they're figuring out who they are and where they fit in the world, and that rebellion doesn't necessarily mean rejection of everything I've taught them. For those watching, there's a special ebook in our pinned comment called Don't Think, Trust and Surrender that can help reduce parenting anxiety and guide you toward peace. Remember, this complements but doesn't replace professional parenting support when needed. Father, I surrender my need to be the perfect mother, the anxiety I feel about making mistakes that could damage my children or affect their future happiness and success. You know how I second-guess every decision, wondering if I'm too strict or too permissive, too involved or too distant, too protective or too hands-off. Lord, I compare myself to other mothers and always find myself lacking, always discovering new ways I could be doing better or different things I should be trying. I worry that I'm not patient enough, not creative enough, not organized enough, not spiritual enough to raise healthy, happy, successful children. God, I fear that my own childhood wounds and insecurities are affecting how I parent, that I'm repeating patterns I swore I'd never repeat or overcompensating in ways that create new problems. I need you to remind me that there's no such thing as a perfect mother, that my children don't need perfection from me but love, consistency, and grace. Help me to learn from my mistakes without being paralyzed by them, to apologize when I'm wrong without losing my authority as their parent, and to trust that your love covers my inadequacies and fills in the gaps where I fall short. Lord, I lift up my financial worries about providing for my children's needs and wants, the pressure I feel to give them everything they need to succeed and be happy. You know how I stress about the cost of activities, clothes, technology, and education, wondering how we'll afford everything they need to keep up with their peers. God, I worry about saying no to opportunities that could benefit them because of financial constraints, about them missing out on experiences that could shape their character or future prospects. I'm concerned about teaching them the value of money while still being generous with them, about preparing them for financial responsibility while not burdening them with adult worries about our family's economic situation. Lord, I need your wisdom about how much to spend on my children and how much to save for their future, about when to sacrifice for their benefit and when to teach them that they can't have everything they want. Help me to trust that you will provide for all our needs, that my children won't be damaged by having less than some of their friends, and that the best gifts I can give them are love, time, and attention rather than material possessions. God, I ask you to calm my health-related worries about my children, the way every symptom sends me into panic mode wondering if something serious is wrong. You know how I research every cough, every rash, every change in behavior or appetite, imagining worst-case scenarios and fearing rare diseases and conditions. Lord, I worry about genetic predispositions to illnesses that run in our family, about environmental toxins and their long-term effects, about whether I'm doing enough to keep my children healthy and strong. I'm concerned about mental health issues, about depression and anxiety that might not be visible on the surface, about eating disorders and self-harm behaviors that teenagers sometimes develop. God, I need you to give me discernment about when to seek medical attention and when to trust that minor issues will resolve on their own, when to worry and when to have faith in my children's resilience and your protection over them. Help me to model healthy attitudes about medical care and body image, to teach my children to take care of themselves without becoming hypochondriacs or developing unhealthy fears about illness and death. Father, I lift up my worries about my children's future spouses and relationships, the people they'll choose to love and who will love them in return. You know how I pray for their future marriages even when they're still young, asking you to protect the hearts of the people you have chosen for them. Lord, I worry about them settling for less than your best, about them being hurt by relationships that aren't meant to last, about them making commitments before they're mature enough to understand what they're promising. I'm concerned about the dating culture they're growing up in, about hookup mentality and casual relationships that don't prepare them for the commitment and sacrifice that marriage requires. God, I want them to find partners who will encourage their faith, support their dreams, and treat them with love and respect, but I know I can't control who they're attracted to or who captures their hearts. I need you to prepare them to be good spouses themselves, to teach them about healthy relationships through my marriage and other examples in their lives. Help me to trust that you are writing their love stories and that your timing and choices are perfect, even when they don't match my preferences or expectations. Lord, I surrender my anxiety about the kind of adults my children will become, whether they'll be happy, successful, and fulfilled in their chosen paths through life. You see how I worry about their character development, about whether they're learning integrity, compassion, work ethic, and all the other qualities that will serve them well as adults. God, I'm concerned about them making major life decisions that I disagree with, about them choosing careers, lifestyles, or living situations that I think are unwise or dangerous. I worry about them moving far away, about not being close to grandchildren, about losing the special relationship we have now as they build their own independent lives. Lord, I need you to help me prepare them for adulthood while still enjoying their childhood, to give them roots and wings in appropriate measure for their age and maturity level. I want to be the kind of mother they'll want to stay connected to throughout their lives, someone they'll come to for advice and support rather than someone they feel they need to escape from or avoid. Help me to love them unconditionally while still having expectations for their behavior and choices, to support their independence while maintaining appropriate influence in their lives. God, I lift up my specific worries about each season of my children's development, the challenges that come with each age and stage that catch me off guard just when I think I'm getting the hang of parenting. You know how I worry about potty training, about starting school, about puberty, about driving, about college applications, about each milestone that represents both growth and new dangers. Lord, I feel like just when I figure out how to handle one phase, they move into the next one and I'm back to feeling clueless and overwhelmed. I worry about being too controlling during phases when they need more independence, and 2 hands off during phases when they need more guidance and structure. God, I need your wisdom to know what each child needs at each stage of their development, to be flexible enough to adjust my parenting as they grow and change. Help me to enjoy each season instead of always worrying about the next one, to be present in their childhood instead of constantly preparing for their future. I want to treasure these years when they still want to spend time with me, when my opinion still matters to them, when I can still influence their choices and shape their character through daily interactions. Father, I ask you to help me model trust and faith for my children instead of anxiety and worry, to show them through my example what it looks like to cast cares on you and find peace in your promises. You know how they watch my reactions to problems and challenges, how they learn more from what I do than from what I say about trusting God. Lord, I don't want my worries to become their worries, my fears to become their fears, my anxiety to teach them that the world is a dangerous place where bad things are always about to happen. I need you to help me speak words of faith and hope over my children, to pray with them about their concerns instead of dismissing them, to teach them that you are bigger than any problem they'll ever face. God, I want them to learn resilience and courage from watching how I handle difficulties, to see that worry doesn't solve problems but prayer and action do. Help me to apologize when my anxiety affects them negatively, to be honest about my struggles without making them responsible for my emotional well-being. Lord, I surrender my timeline and expectations for my children's development, accepting that they'll grow and mature at their own pace according to your design rather than according to my preferences or comparisons to other children. You know how I sometimes push them to reach milestones earlier than they're ready, how I worry when they seem behind their peers in certain areas of development. God, I need you to help me celebrate their unique personalities and abilities instead of trying to mold them into copies of other successful children I admire. Help me to see their struggles as opportunities for growth rather than signs of failure, their differences as gifts rather than problems to be fixed. I want to be their biggest cheerleader and supporter, believing in their potential even when they don't believe in themselves, encouraging them to pursue their dreams even when those dreams are different from what I envision for them. God, as I close this prayer, I want to thank you for the incredible privilege and responsibility of being a mother, for trusting me with these precious lives that you've created and called by name. I'm grateful for every moment I get to spend with my children, every opportunity to influence their character and future, every chance to show them your love through my care and attention. Lord, I choose to release my worries into your hands, trusting that you love my children more than I ever could and that your plans for them are better than anything I could imagine or orchestrate. Help me to be the mother they need me to be in each season, to give them security without smothering them, guidance without controlling them, and love without conditions or performance requirements. I believe that you are faithful to complete the good work you've started in their lives, and I'm trusting you to protect them, provide for them, and use them for your glory in ways that exceed my highest hopes and dreams. Thank you for the gift of motherhood and for your promise to help me raise these children according to your will and purposes. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. If this prayer lifted the weight of mom worries from your heart, please hit that like button and share it with another mom who needs encouragement today. Your support helps us reach more mothers with hope and peace.